Hello students. So today we are going to talk about the topic that we have with us, which is weeds and their control. We need to talk about what are weeds, and then we need to talk about how to actually control them. So first of all, weeds are unwanted plants which grow along with the crop plants in cultivated field. So what we are talking about here is about the different plants which are unwanted. The reason is the same plants will be utilizing the nutrients which are present in the soil and actually cause the soil infertility. And that is why we consider them as weed, which is like unwanted plants. Now, if I give you the example of such weeds, so it will be Avena sativa, which is also known as wild oat, or Cyperus rotundus, which is also known as motha, or Parthenium, also known as gajar ghas, or Xanthium, which is also known as gokuru. So these are like very common weeds that we found in the like in cropping areas generally. Now what like okay, we say that these weeds are unwanted plants, and one of the harmful effect is already I told you, but we can discuss other harmful effects as well. So because they are the plants obviously, so they will compete with the crop plants for nutrients, space, light and water. So obviously what will happen? It will lower the food grain quality and reduction in the crop yield. So obviously you can understand here you're talking about the plants. So they will fight for the same things at the end. Then you have a weeds which actually harbor the insects, pests and the microorganisms and help in their spread because they will act as a shelter. They are not getting affected by the what you can say insects, these weeds plants I can say, but they are actually act as a shelter for them, which is basically helpful for the insects to damage the crops. Certain species of weeds release toxic substance as well in the soil. So obviously that will interfere with the crop growth because unnecessary chemicals are there. Weeds get mixed up with crop during harvesting and lower its quality as well. So that is another like disadvantage with the weeds. The seeds of weeds germinate earlier and their seedlings grow faster than the main crop. And that is one of the like most important factor of considering the weeds as an unwanted plant because they grow very fast. So rather than utilizing the nutrients which has to be utilized by the what you can say are crop plants, they all the nutrients are utilized by the weeds because they grow fast. Okay, so like if I talk about the different methods to control the weeds, so there is method called weeding, which is like process of removing weeds from a crop field is called a weeding, like very simple method. Okay, and how you can actually do that? The different methods of weeding or a weed control are the mechanical methods. So the mechanical method is like you simply use mechanical ways, which is uprooting or pulling out the weed plants by hand or by using trowel, also known as khurpi, or you can do the plowing, like which is very common way. That is why farmers always plow the field first and then sow the crop. Land tilling or mowing with the machines, you can say, burning and flooding the field before sowing or the crop rotation. In all of the cases, you can actually remove the unwanted plants or the weeds. Then there are cultural methods as well, where like timely sowing of seeds in the properly prepared seed beds. So again, in this case, the plowing is also play a very important role. Or you can adopt a different cropping methods like intercropping or a crop rotation or a mixed cropping. Then you can also utilize the chemical methods as well. Like there are certain chemicals which can actually kill the weeds. So those are called weedicides. Okay. So the example of them is like 2,4-D, which is dichlorophenoxyacetic acid. Okay. Or you MCPA, which is also known as 2-methyl 4 chlorophenoxyacetic acid. So these are like very common chemicals that are present in the market and be used as weedicides. And otherwise you have biological methods as well. So in this case what you do is you will find the natural enemies of weeds, which are like very certain kind of a insect species or some organisms that are deliberately introduced in the field, and they selectively destroy the weeds but do not harm the crop plants because the weed plant is actually the food for them. Okay, so like if I give you the example here, the cochineal plants are used to eradicate the weed which is known as opuntia, also known as prickly pear. In some crop plants like soybean, millet, barley, you do not allow the growth of weeds. So such plants are called smoother crops because of the plant the weeds are not being able to grow. There are certain reasons behind them is like presence of certain kind of a bacteria and microorganisms which can actually harm these wheat plants, I can say. Then the cattle and the goats are also there, which are allowed to graze in the field before the planting of crops to reduce the weed growth as well, because they will consume the plants and like the fields become barren and you can actually plow it and utilize it. So this is how you can understand the weeds and actually their methods of control, and to understand how the farmers are actually utilizing the farming in a better way. I hope this will help you. Thank you.